Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching an ABC 10 Plus recap of stories you may have missed. Voters approved Prop 36 by a landslide. Tough on crime, big on treatment. But without enough money behind it, will it actually work? Then in dollars and cents, we're looking into the factors leading to more Americans tapping into their 401ks. The ABC 10 Plus recap starts now.
Tonight, about 15 counties, including multiple areas of San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Colusa counties, are facing possible PG&E power shutoffs as fire officials prepare for any fire risks linked to weather conditions.
Yeah, starting tomorrow, one of the areas that may be most impacted includes the city of Tracy. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has a closer look.
Chris and Laura, what you see behind me is known as the Parr Estates, which is located in Tracy. Some of the neighbors in this community say they were already made aware of the PG&E possible shutoffs through text, but there are others who say they just found out today when we knocked on their door.
We're not aware. I'm glad you stopped by. We have not received any notification.
It was news to Victoria Geibig that PG&E could shut off power to her home in Tracy starting on Thursday and going into the weekend. She lives in the same neighborhood where the Corral fire burned more than 14,000 acres last year, including this home that burned to the ground. Right now, there is concern over the power grid and downed power lines causing fires in the same area. The main contributors are high winds and low humidity.
Right now, the meteorologists that we have looking at that do see some problematic wind speeds in some areas that have high potential for fire risk. And so we're going to continue to monitor that through tomorrow.
The spokesperson for PG&E says they have already reached out to more than 9,500 of its customers about possibly de-energizing power lines. Just under 1,000 of those customers are in San Joaquin County. But the fire chief with the San Joaquin County Fire Authority, also known as Tracy Fire, says they're prepared to go into a higher state of readiness.
We do forecasting also. We see weather events coming. We see that there's going to be a big wind event tomorrow. So we'll staff up our fire agencies. We'll put additional fire engines in service tomorrow. When we do respond to emergencies, we'll respond with additional resources.
The fire chief says they also plan to patrol some of the areas of high concern. He recommends that residents prepare if they need to be without power for several days.
Be extra careful with mowing and doing things that could create sparks and driving in your cars in dry areas, and just be extra prudent when it comes to fire safety during these conditions.
And although Geibig says she's already stressed out about where they can relocate if they lose power, she says she understands why the precautions are being taken.
When we heard that knock on the door saying you have to leave and you have to leave now, and again, it's gathering the livestock, gathering the domesticated animals, every member of the family, making sure we have our necessary medications for anybody that's ill, and then, of course, the air quality when we came back.
The spokesman with PG&E says they are hoping to officially notify customers of the shutoffs sometime on Thursday, either through text, email, or phone call. I'm in Tracy. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Tonight, PG&E has activated its Emergency Operations Center as it prepares for possible public safety power shutoffs. The utility company says fire weather conditions could force them to cut power starting as early as tomorrow in parts of 15 counties, including Colusa, Shasta, San Joaquin, and Stanislaus. More counties could be added. The shutoffs are a wildfire prevention measure tied to high wind and dry conditions. With fire season in full force, Governor Gavin Newsom says cuts to the U.S. Forest Service will make it more difficult for the state to safely fight wildfires. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us in studio now to share with us what the Trump administration cut and how local congressional leaders are responding. Jeannie.
Well, Laura, these cuts are part of the Trump administration's plans on trying to cut back on wasteful spending. But Governor Gavin Newsom says this wildfire season is already extreme and the state can't afford to slow down its efforts on preventing another potentially big event.
On Wednesday morning, President Donald Trump doubled down on his criticism of California's efforts to mitigate any potential wildfire risks.
You clean the floor of your forest and you won't have any forest. You know, Austria has very, very flammable trees. They don't have forest fires because they clean the floors. They maintain their forests.
This comes after the Trump administration continues to make cuts in an effort to roll back on any wasteful spending, impacting the U.S. Forest Service. The department says it manages about 20 million acres of forest land in the state. The governor's office says the cuts have caused the Forest Service to lose 10% of all positions and 25% of positions not relating to wildfire response.
Communities most affected by our decisions must be willing partners in any plans made by the federal government.
Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley wasn't able to do an interview with ABC 10 on this story, but a spokesperson from his office says Kiley is a firm believer that local communities should have a seat at the table for public lands discussions. Last month, Kiley emphasized his stance on the House floor.
I urge my colleagues to oppose any plan that would supersede the will of our local communities and reject efforts to force land decisions without prior consultation.
The U.S. Forest Service would not do an interview with ABC 10 either, but a spokesperson with the USDA who oversees the Forest Service tells us the department has hired 96% of its 11,300 firefighters hiring target and anticipates being fully staffed by mid-July. The department adds it has the strongest and most prepared wildland firefighting force in the world.
And Governor Gavin Newsom has announced $72 million for wildfire risk reduction projects across the state and 16 new vegetation management protection projects spanning more than 7,000 acres, Laura.
Now to a story we've been following closely. You'll remember Prop 36 passed with nearly 70% of the vote. It promised a tougher stance on crime and more court-ordered treatment. But tonight, there's growing concern it could fail without enough money to make it work. ABC 10's Luke Clary reports.
At the California Capitol, bipartisan lawmakers, sheriffs, and probation officials rallied for more money to fully implement Prop 36.
Don't leave us holding the bag, and don't put our communities at risk.
Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper and other supporters say the $110 million set aside in the legislature's budget falls short and ignores the work of probation departments who make sure people follow court-ordered treatment. Steve Jackson is San Joaquin County's probation chief.
To have that full picture, you have to have the treatment and you have to have the accountability and the supervision behind it.
Prop 36 was passed by voters last November. Supporters say it provides a balance, allowing judges to mandate treatment while giving prosecutors more flexibility to file certain drug and theft cases as felonies. Opponents worry it could lead to more incarceration without enough treatment infrastructure to back it up. Governor Newsom, who opposed the measure, says counties that supported it should fund it.
State's not the only spigot. Counties have to do their job. And there are a lot of supervisors in the counties that promoted it, so this is their opportunity to step up, fund it.
Accountability and supervision.
Republican Senator Roger Nilo says Prop 36 was never meant to lock people up, but to get them help.
The most important part about Proposition 36 is about improving lives.
Proponents warn without ongoing support, the law may not deliver the outcomes voters expected. In Sacramento, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
The final state budget is due by June 30th. Prop 36 supporters say they'll keep pushing to make sure future funding matches the measure's goals. New tonight, Twin Rivers Unified says Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools has violated multiple laws.
Yeah, the district also accuses the adult charter school of misusing hundreds of thousands in public funds and violating key agreements that allow it to operate.
Twin Rivers, which oversees Highlands, says the school used taxpayer money for a $725,000 luxury condo in San Diego, despite having no students there. It was the most expensive unit in the building, with views of Petco Park.
The district also looked at Highlands' sponsorship of the Marysville Drakes, a private baseball team. The school paid for stadium upgrades, all issues first uncovered by ABC 10's investigation, The Wild West of Education. Highlands has now ended that deal, but the contract still locks them into $33,000 a year until 2026.
Other violations include using the school's truck driving program for non-students, employing teachers without proper credentials, overcrowded classrooms, and not providing required instruction time for students. Twin Rivers is now taking the first steps to revoke Highlands charter. The school has until September to correct the problems.
ABC 10 reached out to Highlands for comment, and Executive Director Bill McGuire referred us to his comments in the board meeting on Tuesday, saying in part, "We made mistakes at Highlands and we are 100% supportive of correcting these issues." For more information on this letter from Twin Rivers, head over to abc10.com.
Next week, the California State Auditor is expected to release a report on Highlands. That audit, sparked by ABC10's investigation, will also examine whether Twin Rivers has provided proper oversight and if they should have flagged these issues years ago. We'll bring you those findings as soon as they're released.
Now you can watch the full award-winning series, The Wild West of Education, right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. It's free to download on your TV.
In tonight's Dollars and Cents, an alarming new trend. More Americans are tapping into their 401ks for emergencies. A new report finds some Americans are treating these retirement plans more like a rainy day fund. A Sacramento-based financial coach I talked with warns this could cause more harm than good. Is it generally frowned upon to withdraw early from your 401k?
Generally speaking, it is.
A recent report by the Wall Street Journal finds a record number of 401k holders took early withdrawals last year, with more than a third citing foreclosure or eviction as the reason for tapping into those funds.
I think we're seeing it mainly because we're still dealing with the effects of inflation over the past several years. And now the current economic environment also includes a lot of uncertainty.
Whatever your reason, financial advisor and coach Maureen Paley recommends crunching the numbers first and looking at the math very closely.
Make sure that the cash that you eventually get after the penalties and taxes are going to be what you actually need.
Paley says withdrawing 401k funds early means withdrawing before the age of 59.5, which is the minimum age to withdraw to avoid paying penalties and additional tax liabilities. Keep in mind, penalties can be as much as 20%.
Some people might be needing fast cash now that they don't want to go out and get a loan for. Maybe they don't qualify for a loan to get that cash, but they do have it in their 401k. But it's always important to remember it comes with penalties.
Know your numbers and have a plan for how you'll use that cash. Paley says withdrawing from your 401k might make financial sense if you're using that money to pay down high-interest debt you're struggling to pay off.
Consider it very carefully. And also come up with a plan to get back into investments in another way, maybe in a separate account, in a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, where you can get back into that opportunity of building those investments over time.
Paley says when you take money out early from your 401k, you're potentially giving up opportunities to build future capital with your investments, meaning that money you took out is no longer growing in your 401k.
If you're somebody who has plenty of time to make it up, this might be a reasonable option for you.
But if you're older or closer to retirement age, Paley suggests you calculate the dollar amount you need monthly and yearly when you retire.
And understand, if I make this withdrawal now, how many more years do I have to keep working and contributing to still get to that same dollar amount?
Paley also suggests thinking about other ways to come up with the cash. Do you qualify for a loan at a reasonable interest rate? Can you pick up some extra work temporarily and put your energy into getting that extra cash that you're looking for instead of withdrawing early from your 401k? Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Stream all of my Dollars and Cents stories right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app and email me your questions at lpainter@abc10.com.
And now to breaking news. A search is happening as we speak for 3 people who went missing after entering the water near Health Springs in the Soda Springs area. The Placer County Sheriff's Office, along with search and rescue teams, are helping with the search. Now, that area is extremely remote and difficult to access, making rescue efforts challenging. Stay with ABC10 as we learn more. But Monica, I have to say, I know people are trying to beat the heat. These can be very dangerous conditions on the water.
Certainly can. It's still so terribly cold, especially for some of those waterways just below our reservoirs, which are direct snowmelt. So you can see American River below Folsom and then Tuolumne at LaGrange, both with reservoir releases are still in the 50s for that water temperature. Now, the farther away from that direct snowmelt as well as the reservoirs, our river waters are a little bit warmer, including the Delta, which is sitting at about 70. Lake Tahoe water temperature at 66. But when we talk about water temperatures in the 50s and 60s, that'll take your breath away, as well as have some difficulty with muscle control as well. So anybody that is out and about at the waterways, just be aware of that. Save a life, wear a life vest at all costs here into our waterways. Highs for today warming into the upper 90s to near 100. This is the warmest that we've seen since late May. It is a brief blip in this warming trend here because we're right back to the cooler weather, but with increasing winds, we get into that higher fire danger. Right now outside, we're in the upper 90s to near 100 throughout the valley, with Tahoe looking at a temperature of 82 degrees. That sunset not until 8:33. We will see some relief after the sun goes down, but if you're out for that A's game for tonight, it is going to be quite hot to start off the game with the first pitch, finally cooling into the 80s by the time we get to 9 p.m. Not much of a breeze for tonight, and that is going to keep us on the warmer side. Tomorrow, we actually crank up the wind, but that leads us into that higher fire danger in the forecast as this low starts to drive its way inland. It does bring the relief and heat, but again, wind advisory going into effect for our Friday throughout the entire Tahoe Basin and east of the crest, where we actually have a red flag warning starting as early as tomorrow afternoon. So we've got some critical fire weather developing in the forecast all around these winds. We'll see it pull in that cooler Pacific air. So yes, we will see some relief from this heat, but look what happens on Friday. Some of those peak wind gusts are over 50 miles per hour in the Sierra. A little bit lighter winds on Saturday, but we've already set the stage with the dry fuel, with the above average temperatures today. And now we're going to bring in the gusty conditions and low humidity. This will start to subside towards the end of the weekend, but it's actually going to be a fairly cool start for the summer solstice. The hottest that we've ever been is 105. That's when we had summer starting on June 21st. It fluctuates between June 21st and June 20th. And then the coldest that we've had back in 2002, the records going back since 1980. Took a little bit of numbers crunching, so I tried to set that time limit to 1980 and after. Forecast for tomorrow in the 70s for the Sierra, 80s and 90s down low as opposed to what we were tracking for today, 90s to near 100. So you can start to see how those winds will alter those temperatures, bringing them down quite a bit, especially for Delta-influenced areas where readings will drop to the 80s for tomorrow. We see that cooling as well for the high country. On Saturday, we're in the 50s, 70s for the foothills after reaching near 100 today. Breezy along the coast. Our highs are staying in the 60s. A look at our extended forecast. We kick off the summer season with some unseasonably cool weather. Friday and Saturday, low 80s. Will be a little bit warmer on Sunday. Lovely temperatures, but again, have to be mindful of that high fire danger with those winds.
That is such a good reminder. We are in the midst of fire season, and when we have these little dips, you know, sometimes we can get a little negligent, right?
Right, because we associate sometimes fire and heat, but it's wind.
It's really the wind that matters. Okay, Monica, thank you.
Local leaders held a ribbon-cutting ceremony today for Joshua's House, which is some 10 years in the making. It's a new hospice that'll provide end-of-life care specifically to the unhoused. Located in South Natomas, the hospice is set to officially open next month and will be owned and operated by YOLO Cares. The hospice will serve up to 15 people to start, and only those referred by local hospitals. Leaders say it's the first of its kind on the West Coast.
It took the entire community to come together to do this. A project like this doesn't just happen. It really requires collaboration, support, and goodwill from the community at all levels. And that's what this really represents.
Joshua's House founder, Marlene Fitzwater, suffered a stroke several weeks ago and wasn't able to make today's ceremony. She watched virtually. Joshua's House is named for her grandson, who died unhoused in Nebraska more than a decade ago. Tonight, as part of our Pride Month coverage, we're introducing you to a Sacramento-based and inclusive cheerleading team that's breaking the mold. ABC 10's Jeannie Wynn shows us how they support and raise awareness for the LGBTQ+ community.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8.
At first glance, this might look like your average cheer practice.
7, 8, 1.
But if you look closer, you'll see everyone has a story.
I felt the passion for it. So myself and 4 other of our board members decided to create this program.
That passion led Adon Washabaugh to create the Sacramento Cheer Elite Team 3 years ago.
All right, let's try this one.
We are open to all experience levels.
Whoa. I was like, why is she levitating?
You do not have to be a cheerleader. You do not have to be a dancer. We are a philanthropic organization at heart.
The team is part of the Pride Cheerleading Association, whose goal is to raise awareness and funds for LGBTQ plus causes.
We want to create a space that's open and welcoming to all of the LGBTQ community, as well as our allies. So we have all different genders, we have different gender expressions, religious beliefs, people who are straight, people who are allies.
That inclusive spirit is what drew in Blake Young.
I am a gay black man, and I just love being out in the community as its own, but being on this team and actually like taking people with me to these events and being part of like giving everybody their visibility and being able to just be like, I'm here.
And community is an important part of why Jessica Bierley recently became a part of the team.
Specifically, I have a lot of friends and family, loved ones who are part of this beautiful community, so it's a good chance for me to get out there and support them any way I can.
With Pride Month being the busiest time of year for this team, Chase Freed says she's proud to represent an organization to uplift a community she cares about deeply.
It's the joy that I get in uplifting the community and bringing my happy-go-lucky self and just putting smiles on people's faces, and then the awe that people have when they see our performances.
Although Pride Month brings the biggest spotlight, Adon says their work continues all year long, creating a supportive place to go.
We just want to make sure that our voices are a little bit louder for those people who may be in those queer spaces or those marginalized groups, because they don't always have the loudest voice.
In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
It is National Go Fishing Day.
And now that it is almost summer, every day is a good day to reel it in. ABC 10's Marcus Allen is joining us live from the beautiful Folsom Lake with more. Hey, Mark.
Right now, you'll see him in about 3 seconds. You'll see him on the screen.
We're going to need a bigger boat because of the fish we're going to catch on this boat. It is National Go Fishing Day. I've never been more excited to be on Folsom Lake. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tom. I've never done this on Folsom Lake. First of all, let's meet the players. Professional fishermen ready to get you and your family and friends out on the water. Rudy, introduce yourself.
Hi there, Rudy Divin with Rudy's Trophy Catcher Guide Service.
There you go. And over here, you look familiar. I can't place the face, but where do I know you from?
I am Tom Ailey, getting the guide service. Used to be with a little thing called the Pat, Tom, and Cody Show. Now it's just the Pat and Cody Show.
Exactly. The legendary Pat and Tom and Cody. So congratulations on your new chapter. You are a full-time angler.
I am. This is my full-time gig now. This is my retirement, and it doesn't suck.
First of all, let's talk about the technology I'm talking about. Look into the sunset, into that equipment right there. Yeah. You actually see the fish digitally before we catch them, right?
Those are fish right there. Those are marks, as we call them. We always say those are good-looking marks, but if you flip the camera around here, that's a good-looking mark too.
That's not true at all. Not true at all. So also, this technology over here, I noticed we're not holding rods. What's going on there?
This is an electric downrigger. This assists us to get our baits down deeper where these big king salmon and rainbow trout are.
Awesome. And you know, my dad was a fisherman, right? And so he always talked about a very special stink bait he had to use and stuff like that. So I would have to ask you, is there any kind of like secret good luck charm?
Yeah, it's my Fishin' Freddie Mercury shirt. If you can see this, Pat got this for me a couple of years ago. I've literally only been skunked wearing this one time.
You wear the Freddie Mercury shirt every time you're fishing?
Every time I fish, yeah.
When you catch one, do you go, "We are the champions"? No?
Yeah, well, I'm going to now.
And then when you come in empty-handed, it's another one bites the dust. I don't know. I'm done. I'm spent.
Yeah, no, that was good, Mark.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Over here, you, sir, if you would talk to me for a second about what's important when you're fishing.
Well, there's a lot of key factors here. We got moon phase, we got high pressure, low pressure, we got water temperature, we got the right baits, the wrong baits, the right sense, the wrong. Right. Anyway, it's a lot. There's a lot to it. But once you get it dialed in, there's some really, really good fish here in all of our backyards at Folsom Lake.
Step in. What?
Time. The gear's just moving through the water column about 2 miles an hour most of the time out here, and we have the ability to adjust our lines in the water up and down to follow the fish. So that's keep the gear on the fish.
All right, so as we wrap it up, and again, a beautiful sunrise. I don't know that I've ever seen a calmer, more beautiful day on Folsom Lake. Huddle together, boys. Huddle together. The name of your company again?
Rudy's Trophy Catcher Guide Service. You can find me on Facebook or on just Google search me.
And you, sir?
Angling West Guide Service, anglingwest.com.
All right, and over here, it is Get the Net. It is Tom, formerly the Pat and Tom Show. Congratulations, my friend. I've never seen you look more peaceful and happy.
Yeah, we will rock you.
We will rock you. In a boat. Back to you.
Is Tom playing country music out there by any chance fishing? Could you ask him that for me?
I've always wondered this, and I love this DJ question because you never know what they like. What kind of music do you like? Are you playing country out here on the boat?
It's Rudy's boat, so he's the DJ.
Yeah, good. The boat captain's in charge.
I play a lot of country music, and in fact, I've listened to Tom on the Tom and Pat show for years.
Who didn't?
And it's so different not hearing Tom's voice every morning.
All right. Well, you can hear it here on Folsom Lake. Back to you.
All right, we missed Tom on the radio, but so happy he's retired and fishing, literally fishing. I'm going fishing and making money. Okay.
Thanks for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. Remember, we are here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.
We're in day 1 of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns. Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.